Yes, guys. Ryjack back for another video. Today, we're looking at the Champions League fixture, and you know how I feel about the Champions League. I love the Champions League. It is my favorite competition, and I want to win it every year to just push City a bit further in that global standing. Anyway, before we do start, I want to say thank you to all the messages I've gotten about becoming a father. Very much appreciate that. So, thank you for those. If you are new, sub to the channel. We just passed 600 subs. We're going for 1,000. So thank you for the support on all the socials as well. TikTok is over 2,000. Instagram growing. Discord is getting bigger as well. So thank you guys as always for the support on the channel. Let's talk about the Champions League today. I have some tweets pulled up here from the pre-match press conference between Pep and Josko as well. A lot of interesting things, I'll say. For the time being, Rodri and Kovacic remain ruled out for City against Leverkusen. Nobody else has issues, which is nice to hear. No other issues other than the two that we kind of know of. He said not long for Rodri, not sure, but not long. I'm not at the point yet where I'm worried about Rodri, but I'm also maybe a little anxious about him. I would really like to see him get game time and minutes under his legs so he can be ready for, January on and really push us towards hopefully competing for the Premier League, but also competing for the Champions League, which in my opinion is maybe more doable at this point of the season. And honestly, what I would rather win if I had to pick, just my personal preference. I know some people don't like that, but I just love the Champions League. I would love to win that again. He talked about Donnarumma's yellow card, which, whatever is what it is. Talked about moving on very quickly from Newcastle, which, of course, you have to do. We basically have to win this Champions League game, get closer to that automatic promotion, which is all he really cares about at the moment. Then he had some interesting comments on Echeverri. We know Echeverri didn't want to go to Girona. City wanted him to go to Girona on loan, get some game time with Victor Hayes, who's by all accounts doing very well at Girona, playing a lot, getting experience. They're not, very good at the moment, but he's fighting with his team and he's in the thick of it. Whereas Echeverri is just like not getting minutes at Leverkusen, which is not good for his development. He's had, a year and a half of just not playing games, which clearly that's not what City wanted. And sounds like there maybe was an issue with his agent because this Pep comment was not exactly glowing of the agent. He said, I'm not involved in speak with them. I'm pretty sure his agent will know everything than everyone. Sounds like he's saying the agent smarter than all of us, and that's why he's not playing. So potential rift there a bit with Echeverri. Maybe he gets recalled and comes back in January, and then we send him out to Girona, potentially. Maybe he's still very anti-Girona and wants to go somewhere else. There's rumors he wants to go back to River Plate, but that seems like a massive step back. He needs to be playing in Europe, I feel like, or for a top league in Europe, not necessarily a European competition, but he just needs minutes. So it's pretty frustrating to see that. He talked about, how difficult it is to win the Premier League, of course. Then Josko got on the mic, and he talked about how last season was extremely poor, not what we want. This year is much better. He said, we've been in much worse situations than now. It's difficult to tell you. There are many games to play, and we just need to go game by game, which is fair. I know a lot of people are stressed about the Newcastle loss, and they're frustrated that we were building momentum, and then it just seems like one step forward, two steps back. I know that's how it feels, but I do think City are still building and getting there, and I don't think there's a whole lot to be worried about, I would say. So, for the most part, those are the notable comments from the press conference, and there's a couple of academy players that might be training that you can see. Jadel Katungo trained. Maybe he'll make the bench. I don't know. We'll see about that. But that's pretty much it for the press conference. Now we'll pull up the FOTMob preview so we can discuss that as well. It will be tomorrow, 3 o'clock for me, 8 o'clock for you guys over in the UK. Bayer Leverkusen, a very good German side. I would say they're not quite as good as they have been in the past. They're third right now. They're 2 years removed from that invincible season in the Bundesliga. They have definitely lost some players, so they're not quite at the level. Florian Wirtz notably gone, Jeremy Frimpong gone, Granit Xhaka gone. So it's a pretty different squad, I would say, than the one that was so dominant a couple of seasons ago. If you look at their lineup, they have Alex Garcia, former Man City player, of course. Flecken was at Brentford at some point. Grimaldo's linked with City a bunch of times in the past, linked with a move to Barca recently. Jarrell Kwanzaa from Liverpool is there. You do have Echeverri, who's in this predicted 11. Now, I'm not sure the rules on Echeverri playing versus not playing because he's on loan. Maybe in Europe it doesn't matter and you can play. I know in the Premier League, like for example, Jack Grealish couldn't play against us against Premier League loan rules, but in Europe, potentially it looks like he is available to play. And it would be nice to see him play against us. Of course, I hope he doesn't do so well, but minutes are important for him, so I hope he plays. Malik Tillman is an American who's actually one of the better American players. So, as an American, it is nice to see him play. And Kafane at striker, I'm not familiar with. As far as injuries for them, Lucas Vazquez, former Madrid player. Tapsoba is a pretty good center back who looks like he's suspended. Palacios is a name that was thrown around quite a bit in the summer for City. He looks like he is out until January. And the other names, I'll be honest, I'm not familiar with. Andrich is one I'm familiar with, a solid center midfielder who is suspended as well. They've got this lineup here, and it's a little bit different than what I think City will probably put out, so I'll pull mine up in just a moment here. If you look at the Champions League table, we're actually sitting pretty nicely. 4th place through 4 games, 10 points. It's hard to complain, really, with that scenario. In my estimation, we only need between 15 and 16 points. That's basically 2 wins from the next 4 games that would get us to that automatic qualification spot. They have some difficult games. Leverkusen's difficult, but I would hope we win this game tomorrow. Madrid is going to be difficult, of course. Even if you think Madrid are not great this season, it's still the Bernabeu. It's still a tough place to go play. Then you have a bit of a easier run-in with Bodo Glimt and Galatasaray. If for whatever reason we lose to Leverkusen, lose to Madrid, I would still expect us to beat Galatasaray and Bodo Glimt, where we get that 16 points and most likely secure automatic qualification top 8. Now, moving up is nice, but again, it doesn't really matter because it's all about kind of luck. Like, Barcelona, of course, are better than Galatasaray, and if you finish higher or lower, you're more likely to get Galatasaray than Barcelona. So there's some give and take there with where you actually finish. As long as you get top 8, that's fine in my estimation. Anyway, I do want to look at the lineup here, and it's a little different than I normally do because there's a lot of, I would say, not debate, but these are the players I think are locked on starters for the game. And there's only 4 at the moment. Donnarumma, of course, will start. Josko was at the interview press conference, so he will start. Nico G has to start, and Haaland has to start. Every other position, in my estimation, is up for grabs and can be changed. Left back, right back, I think you could see potentially a change there. Neither player had a very good game against Newcastle, so I think changes are open and they should be welcomed. Ryan Aït-Nouri at left back gets a start in my estimation, and Abdulkadir Kusanov gets a run at right back because he hasn't played in a while, and Champions League home night, I think that'd be a good opportunity for him to play. He'd be more further back defensively, while Aït-Nouri can push, bomb forward like he likes to do. This center back position, is it Diaz? Is it John Stones? I would probably say it's Ruben Diaz. I think the Diaz and Gvardiol partnership is probably still the best at the moment. And neither one of them I felt like were really at fault for the goals that we conceded against Newcastle, so I do think they play again. These 4 positions, the wingers and the midfielders next to Nico G, up for grabs. You have many options. Bernardo is available as an option, not going to provide a lot in terms of G&A, but we always knew that. Phil Foden probably does start the game. I think, I know it's one of his not great games he's coming off of. He should have had maybe 3 goals and ends up with none. disappointing. And, if those goals go in against Newcastle, the result's probably different and maybe we even win. But I still think I back Phil Foden to play and play well. He's actually had a pretty good Champions League campaign so far, better than him in the Premier League as well. So I'll probably go with Foden. Next to him, do you go with Reinders or do you go with Bernardo Silva? I probably switch it and go with Tijani Reinders just on the terms of I think he's going to provide what we need in this game. Reinders has maybe had a bit difficult time adjusting to the Premier League. Champions League is different. He might have more time on the ball and be able to be more effective. Wingers. We get to the wingers. The difficult positions to figure out for City. Doku's playing pretty well in general. Right side is pretty poor in general. Omar Marmoush basically not playing at all. I think Marmoush starts the game. He just needs a run of games, in my opinion. So Marmoush goes out on the left there for me. Out on the right, you could run Jeremy Doku out on the right. It's not something we've seen a lot of, so I don't expect that. Savinho hasn't been very good this season at all. The other option is Bernardo Silva, Champions League Bernardo Silva. You could do that. You could play Ryan Cherky there as well. But again, the only time we've seen Cherky right wing is when Bernardo is in the midfield to make up for the defensive work rate. And I'm not saying Bernardo starts, Reinders starts. Therefore, I don't put Cherky in the starting lineup. And for me, I go with Oscar Bob as my right wing option. Ideally, he takes this game, makes it his own, and can put forth a performance that is worthy of being Oscar Bob. You're now our right winger going forward, like I know you can be. So this is my lineup for the Leverkusen game. I know it's a little different probably than what people think, but it's definitely good enough to win the game. I do expect City to win the game, and hopefully we get it done nice and early in the first half so we can make some subs, get Holland off, give him a bit of a break because he's played a lot of football recently for us. So that's my prediction. That's my preview. I am saying City win, 3-1 win for Man City over Leverkusen. We are at home. We should be favored, and we should win this game. Every game is difficult. Champions League is different sometimes. It is what it is, but I'm thinking we win this game, and I will be back post-game with my thoughts on the channel, of course. As always, if you're new, subscribe. I really appreciate it. Going for 1,000. Like, comment, let me know your thoughts. Can City win the Champions League? I think we can. We need to win this game, make our next step towards automatic qualification to the knockout round, and then go for it with all we got for the Champions League because I want that title this year really bad. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I will be back after the game tomorrow.